up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today is an unboxing video. I have a massive number of books to show you guys. It's a little embarrassing, not gonna lie. But if that sounds like fun, you're definitely in the right place. Stick around for the video. It's reading time here at JB's Corner. If you're wondering why I seem sweaty and gross, it's because I was just doing a little bit of dance before this. So many weddings this year. It's crazy. So many weddings. So I apologize ahead of time for all the wedding content that is going to show up on this channel because there are just that many weddings. But that also means fun times for dancing, singing, getting ready to do all kinds of talent showcasing and lack thereof. But it should be fun, so I'm excited. But that is why I seem tired and slightly gross and am sucking down water throughout the course of this video. But I thought I would combine a unboxing haul along with my book of the month this month because there were just so many books that have come into my possession over the course of the past month. So let's start with the stack right here. Now, these 4 books in particular are extra special because these are actually books that my husband bought for me. He has been traveling a lot recently for work. And so his thing is whenever he goes to the airport, he always goes by the bookstall and he likes to check out what books they have available and tries to bring me home something new every single time. Before we jump into that though, I just realized I never actually introduced myself. My name is Jaya, and here in this little corner of the internet, we talk all things books, primarily fiction because that is my primary form of addiction. But on occasion, I do memoirs or nonfiction on this channel as well. It just takes me forever to get through a nonfiction book. Case in point, I am currently reading a book by Simran Kaur called Girls That Invest, and I have literally gotten through a grand total of 20 pages of this book. It is a very slow progress, but we will get there. We will get there. But that actually helps segue me into this video because I thought I would start with the books that my husband bought me. So first and foremost, he bought me this book called Jasmine Guilory, Flirting Lessons, and I am not so sure how I'm gonna feel about this book. It's outside of my usual comfort zone, but it also just seems so darn cute. My husband ended up getting this for me in February, actually. He was like, it was pink and red, and it felt so perfect for Valentine's Day. So I was like, okay, we'll see what she has to offer. This is a queer sapphic romance, and it is basically following the story of Avery Jensen. She is almost 30, fresh off a breakup, and tired of always being so uptight and well-behaved. She wants to get a hobby, date around, especially women, flirt with everyone she sees, wear something not from the business casual section of her closet, all the fun stuff normal people do in their 20s. One problem, Avery does not know where to start. She doesn't have a lot of dating experience with men or women, and despite being self-assured at work, she doesn't have a ton of confidence when it comes to romance. Enter Taylor Cameron, Napa Valley's biggest flirt and champion heartbreaker. Taylor just broke up with her most recent girlfriend, and her best friend bet her that she can't make it to Labor Day without sleeping with someone. So Taylor offers to give Avery flirting lessons. It should keep her busy and stop her from texting people she shouldn't, and it might take her mind off of how inadequate she feels compared to her friends, who all seem much more settled and adult than Taylor. At first, Avery's stiff and nervous, but Taylor is patient and encouraging, and soon Avery is looking forward to their weekly lessons. With Taylor's help, Avery finally has the life she's always wanted. The only issue is now she wants Taylor too. Their attraction becomes impossible to ignore despite their both insisting to themselves and everyone else that it isn't serious. When Taylor is forced to confront her feelings for Avery, she doesn't know what to do, and most important, if she's already ruined the best thing she's ever had. So I don't know exactly how I feel about this. This feels a little too on the nose and a little too typical romance, which I'm not really sure how it's going to go, but I do think it'll be fun to read the banter between the two characters and kind of see what these lessons entail. So I am curious to see what the novel has to offer, and I am very thankful to my husband for picking this up for me. That was just so cute and sweet of him to do. The next book that my husband bought for me is actually this one right here, The Love We Found. This is by Jill Santopolo, and the original book in this series, The Light We Lost, was a huge hit, and it was actually selected for Reese's Book Club as well. The only problem with this selection was that my husband did not realize at the time that this is actually the second book in the series. So I ended up having to order the first book to go with this one as well. So The Light We Lost is following the story of Lucy and Gabe. He was the first person to inspire her, to move her, to truly understand her. Was he meant to be the last? Lucy is faced with a life-altering choice, but before she can make her decision, she must start her story, their story, at the very beginning. Lucy and Gabe met as seniors at Columbia University on a day that changes both of their lives forever. Together, they decide they want their lives to mean something, to matter. When they meet again a year later, it seems fated. Perhaps they'll find life's meaning in each other. But then Gabe becomes a photojournalist assigned to the Middle East, and Lucy pursues a career in New York. What follows is a 13-year odyssey of dreams, jealousies, and ultimately of love. Their journey takes Lucy and Gabe continents apart, but never out of each other's hearts. And Lucy will find herself asking, was it fate that brought them together? Is it choice that has kept them away? I've heard wonderful things about this book. Just reading the back is already making me tear up. I feel like I'm really going to enjoy this one. So when I realized the second book was out and my husband had picked it up for me, I knew I had to read this series. So here's the second book. It's been 10 years, in case you're out there somewhere. In case you're listening, I'm here, and I have so much to tell you. Gabe's been gone nearly 10 years when Lucy finds an envelope with an address in Rome in a box of his old photos. Why did Gabe keep it, and what was he doing in Italy? Lucy buys a last-minute plane ticket. Impulsive, but Gabe always brought that out in her. Lucy's journey to uncover Gabe's secret leads her to Dr. Dax Armstrong, a New Yorker in Italy working with an NGO. His broad shoulders and sad, intense eyes draw Lucy in. His touch reaches her in a forgotten place, one no one has neared since Gabe. But her old life awaits, along with an earth-shattering decision, whether to tell her son Samuel the truth about his father. How can Lucy move forward when she's rooted in the past? Fate broke her heart once. Can finding new love set her free? So it's very clear that this is going to be a series that breaks my heart, but I also think the characters are going to be really developed, and I can see why this was selected for Reese's Book Club as well. I just feel like these books are clearly very powerful and very celebrated for a reason, and I'm very curious to see what that journey would entail. This trip, he just recently got back today. He ended up picking up for me a thriller. He knows that March is my thriller month. So he was like, I know you've probably read a bunch of them on your shelf, so I thought I would get you a new one. And he also saw that there was a quote on the book from Colleen Hoover, and he knows I've read Colleen Hoover in the past. So he was like, I'm sure this will be a good one for you. It's called You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Jeneva Rose. An instant New York Times bestseller, a Publisher's Weekly bestseller. Grace Evans, an overlooked New Yorker looking for a total escape from her busy life, buys books and Airbnb on a ranch in the middle of Wyoming. When she arrives at the idyllic getaway, she's pleased to find that the owner is a handsome man by the name of Calvin Wells, and he's eager to introduce her to his easygoing way of life. But there are things Grace discovers that she's not too pleased about. A lack of cell phone service, a missing woman, and a feeling that something isn't right with the ranch. Despite her uneasiness, the two bond and start to fall for one another. However, as her departure date nears, things change for the worse. What began as a playful romance soon turns into a complicated web of lies. Grace grows wary of Calvin as his infatuation for her seems to have morphed to obsession. Calvin fears that Grace is hiding something from him, including her reason for staying at his ranch to begin with. Vacation flings typically end in heartbreak, but for Grace and Calvin, it'll be far more destructive. So it sounds really fun. I love the plot line of these two characters that have a bunch to hide. I read a book similar to this called The Exes recently by, I want to say, Leodora Darlington, and that book was amazing. I really enjoyed it. So I'm super excited to see what this tale has in store for me as well. Next up, I have Cinder by the crazy sisters themselves, Caroline Peckham and Susanne Valenti. This is the third book in the Never Keep series, which is taking place after the events of the first three series within the world of Solaria. So we have, is it Solaria? Am I making this up? No, I don't think it's actually called Solaria. I forgot what it's called. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm blanking. Someone correct me. But within this world, this is where the Vega twins were in the Zodiac Academy. This is the world where Darkmoor Penitentiary took place, as well as Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac. So this is the newest series, and this is book 3 in the series. Originally, it was meant to be a trilogy from my understanding, but the Weird Sisters have done it again and they've decided to continue the publications, and I know it's been very well received. So I may actually suck it up and just start reading the series at this point, but this is the third book in the series that has finally released. I'm not actually going to read the inside cover of this book, only because I feel like it will give away too much of what happens in the first two books. But I do know the books are taking place after the completion of Darkmoor Penitentiary as well as the Zodiac Academy within this world. Continuing on the journey of completing series, Game On, the third and final book in Nevessa Allen's series, is finally out. This is the Into Darkness series that starts with Lights Out. This is supposed to be dark romance, and it is supposed to be kind of cat and mouse serial killer and prey vibes. But from my understanding, both characters are super deranged, and there's a lot of other crazy things that are happening in the book. And I've heard that the storyline is actually very, very enjoyable. I'm hoping it's going to be more along the lines of the Mind F series, as well as the Ruinous Love trilogy, more so than like Hunting Adeline series. I'm hoping it's going to be more along the lines of the other two series, where the characters have a lot more depth and there's a lot more interesting things happening, and it's not so uncomfortable to read the romance, if you will, and it's not a stalking romance, but we'll see what ends up happening. I've heard that it's a great series, and I'm really excited that the third book is finally out, and I do see myself picking this up when I'm in the mood for a darker romance, probably sometime closer to the fall, when I'm also reading all my horrors, etc. But yeah, finally got Game On by Nevessa Allen, which released this past month. Moving on to the monthly books from Book of the Month. The first book that I ended up getting was actually an add-on book called Just Friends by Haley Pham. Now, many of you may already know this, some of you may not, but Haley Pham is actually a pretty well-known YouTuber herself, and she has been doing this for quite some time. She also has a spin-off channel that was specifically based on books, and I will admit that I used to follow her, and I still do to a certain extent, and it was so exciting to hear that she finally took the plunge and decided to write a novel. So when I found out that this was available for pickup on the Book of the Month website, I knew I had to pick it up for myself and see what wonderful book Miss Haley has given us. From my understanding, this is a second chance romance, a heartwarming and swoon-worthy romance about childhood friends reconnecting after years apart. Blair and Declan were inseparable growing up, best friends who knew each other better than anyone else. But when an impulsive kiss took them from friends to something more, everything changed. Just as quickly as their romance started, one moment shattered it all, leaving them with nothing but heartbreak and silence. Now, 4 years later, Blair is back in their coastal hometown of Seabrook to support her mom and care for her great-aunt Lottie as her health declines. To make ends meet, Blair applies to work at a coffee shop, only to discover it's managed by none other than Declan, the boy she loved, the boy she lost, the boy who still makes her heart race. As Blair's path keep crossing with Declan's, old wounds resurface, secrets are revealed, and sparks reignite. But could their future ever be free of their past? Told in dual timelines that unravel the magic and pain of first love, Just Friends is a moving romantic story about second chances, the weight of dreams, and finding your way back to the people who feel like home. So we'll see what this book has to offer. I know I've seen some mixed reviews about it online, but I am definitely taking into account that this is a very young author and that this is her first debut novel, and to even write a book and have it published at such a young age is incredible. So I'm really rooting for Haley, and I'm hoping that this book is going to be absolutely excellent and super, super fun to read. And I think it's going to be exactly what we're looking for with a cozy, comfy, second chance romance. Next up, within the Book of the Month haul, we have Mad Mabel. Now, this one sounded really interesting. It says sanity is subjective. I was like, okay, I see you. From the best-selling author Sally Hepworth comes a twisty tale of justice, redemption, and one irrepressible woman who's not done breaking the rules just yet. Meet Elsie Mabel Fitzpatrick, 81 years old, gloriously grumpy, fiercely independent, and never without a hot cup of tea or a cutting remark. She minds her own business in her quiet Melbourne suburb until a neighbor turns up dead and the whispers start flying. Because Elsie hasn't always been Elsie. Once upon a headline, she was Mad Mabel Waller, Australia's youngest convicted murderer. But was she really mad or just misunderstood? Either way, she kept her secret buried for decades. Enter 7-year-old Persephone, a relentless little chatterbox who has just moved in across the road, armed with stickers, questions, and no sense of personal boundaries. Joan, who appears to have it in for Elsie, and a healthy dose of public interest. The cops are sniffing around and the media is circling like seagulls at picnic. So Mabel does what she's always done best. She takes matters into her own hands. Is she a cantankerous old lady with a shady past, a cold-blooded killer with arthritis, or just someone who's finally ready to tell her side of the story? Sharp, surprising, and wickedly funny, this is the unforgettable story of a woman who spent a lifetime being underestimated and is about to prove everyone wrong again. So this one just sounded so sweet. It kind of gave me chills reading it because it did feel a little similar to like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, or something along those lines where, you know, you're getting into the reporting vibes with the story. It also kind of reminded me a little bit of Verity. So I feel like in general, I'm going to like this style of storytelling, and I think I am going to enjoy this book. And I'm also very curious to see the relationship between the grandmother and the little girl. I'm also really hoping for dual timelines, maybe, where the grandmother also gives us past memories. It also kind of gives me a little bit of the Heiress vibes by Rachel Hawkins, where we get to the story of one of the main characters in the plot's history through letters that she's written. And especially in the audiobook, it sounds like she's telling you the story, and it's just so well written. So I'm really hoping I'm going to enjoy Mad Mabel. I think it's going to be a very interesting book. I think it's going to be a fun read, and I'm super, super excited for it. Last but not least, this book from Book of the Month is a special edition book, and I felt like this can also open the door for the rest of the special editions that are in this haul video, because there are quite a few. But Bloodbound by L. Hunter was actually offered in this beautiful special edition painted edges copy, and it's absolutely gorgeous. The interior cover of this book is also stunning. I just love, love, love the bookends on this. Like, it's so pretty. And I think like Book of the Month actually outdid themselves with this lovely copy. And I just love the dragon and the Phoenix Griffin like thing that's flying around that I don't know what it is. Maybe a chimera. But it sounds really interesting, and I'm very excited to see where this book is going to lead. I believe this is meant to be a duology, which is why I ended up picking it up. You cannot forfeit. You cannot run. You duel or you die. Astrid has always known she is destined to die. She is the last Naxtran witch, and heir to the queendom of Arturia, cursed by a centuries-old covenant to duel the heir to the kingdom of Vatra for the source of all magic, the heart. And now Astrid's time is up. She's heading into enemy territory to face Prince Zrine, the most powerful dragon rider in eons, with only her familiar, her portions, and her wits to aid her. She's going to die, and any chance her queendom has of curing the blight that's ravaging the lands and killing her people will die with her. Meanwhile, deep in Dragon Country, Skylar and her traveling troupe arrive in Vatra's capital, ready to profit off the legions of spectators swarming to the city ahead of the duel. She despises the royals and all they stand for, especially as the King's Guard murdered her mother. But when her best friend disappears, suspected to have been taken in the conscription, her search takes her closer to the royals than she ever could have imagined. As the duel looms over the kingdom, Skylar's and Astrid's fates intertwine. They must battle a growing rebellion, their inner demons, and ultimately those they love most, to determine if together they will save or doom their world. I think this should be really fun. I'm very excited to see where the book takes us, and I'm also very much excited about this beautiful, stunning special edition copy that Book of the Month released. And that does bring me to the end of the Book of the Month portion of the haul. Okay, guys, I would say we're about a third of the way done. That's how many books are in this haul. It's insane. It's actually insane, the number of books I have purchased over the course of the past few months. Also, keep in mind that some of these books are shipping in months later after putting the pre-orders in. And also, there will be a second part to this unboxing that will come up when the Illumicrate books finally come in. Those are still nowhere to be seen. So I'm sure they'll arrive at some point, but for now, let's continue what we were talking about with the next book on the list. This is a Tracy Wolfe novel. Tracy Wolfe is the woman who wrote 5 massive, beautiful books in the Crave series. That was, is that how it starts? Is it starts with Crave? Yes, I believe it starts with Crave. Pause. Yes, it does start with Crave. Tracy Wolfe wrote 5 massive books in the Crave series, and it was one to rival Twilight, and it came out right around COVID, and I think it's because she's just a masterful writer, and she also had a lot of extra time because of COVID. And so she created these worlds that were absolutely amazing through the story of Crave, and has since been continuing to write great books. Unfortunately, I haven't picked up any of her other books, but I did notice that this appeared to be a new series that she's starting called The Afterymyth. And this book is absolutely stunning. Look at those scales. I mean, aren't they gorgeous? I'm absolutely obsessed with the snake detailing in this book. The interior paper is also snakes, which I thought was really cool. And it does say that this is book 1 in the series. So I'm hoping we should be able to pick up where we left off. Secrets are only hidden until they're spoken, and promises are only kept until they're broken. Stories, though, stories can last forever. They can be told over and over again. They can grow, they can shrink, they can take up all the space in a room, and sometimes they can even slink away and disappear. Every once in a while, though, a story can do so much more. Every once in a while, if the person telling the story is very, very brave, it can do the most magical, most miraculous thing of all. It can change everything. Welcome to Afterymyth. That sounds so good. Okay, here we go. What's your myth? Penelope Weaver has spent her whole life preparing to attend Anaximander's Academy, where students learn how to bring to life the stories of Greek mythology as well as discover the Greek god whose principles they most embody. Penelope knows she's an Athena. All smart, practical, rule-following girls who take part in stories that matter are Athenas. But when Penelope and her twin brother Paris arrive at Anaximander's, it appears fate has other plans. Penelope isn't placed with the Athenas. She's placed with students who are anything but practical, who prefer parties to rules. And that's just the beginning. She's given the world's worst muse, her assigned tasks feel impossible, and the magic of Anaximander's is overwhelming. Not to mention, there are 2 very different boys making her new life even more confusing. But as things go from bad to dangerously worse, one thing becomes clear. In a world where everything is fated to happen in a certain way, some stories need to be rewritten. As that world around her shifts and cracks, Penelope is asked to forget everything she thought she knew to help create a better story, even if that changes every plan and breaks every rule. This page-turning middle-grade debut from #1 New York Times best-selling author Tracy Wolfe challenges the idea that stories define us rather than the other way around. Penelope's journey puts the power back in the hands of any reader, young or old, brave enough to chart their own course. I just thought that sounds so sweet, and I just love the overall vibe of this book. It definitely feels reminiscent of like high school reads for me, and I've been looking for that young adult era again. Last time I tried to read young adult, I started with Scythe, which is an absolutely phenomenal book series, but it was a little too dark for me. So I think I'm looking for something slightly more positive, slightly more Harry Potter vibes, slightly more Twilight vibes. So I'm hoping this is going to be the one that hits that spot. But I just love how beautiful this book is, and I'm so excited to read even more of Tracy Wolfe's writing. Okay, next up we have a Fairy Loot we have a Fairy Loot edition of The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. This is probably one of the most beautiful books I have ever seen. I don't know if you guys can see the shine of the gold on here, both the rose gold as well as the yellow gold on the mushrooms. But this is an absolutely stunning edition of the book. It says, "A gift is not just a gift in my world. It's an obligation. His world, she met his searing stare. Then too bad you're in Bow's Keep." Her voice didn't sound half as tough as she intended, so she doubled down. "My world, my rules." So this is the Fairy Loot exclusive edition, as I mentioned before. The interior cover, I believe, allows you to change it back to the original cover of the book if you want to. But I'm not going to lie, I definitely prefer their cover over this cover, as stunning as this cover is as well. And then within the book itself, we have this beautiful, beautiful cover, hardcover on the book. Look at that. Oh my God, guys. It's gorgeous. It's such a beautiful, beautiful copy of the book. And then here is the inner book plate. Isn't that stunning? Oh my God. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then, of course, the painted edges. And it actually comes with a ribbon as well to hold your place, which I think is just stunning. And this is also signed by the author as well, which is just so exciting. And this was originally part of the adult fantasy box. She also wrote Dance of Thieves, for anyone who thinks that name is familiar but can't quite place it. And Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves, which was a duology, was like one of my favorite series of all times. And so I am definitely excited to be reading this duology as well. I believe the second book is coming out sometime this year, if I'm not mistaken. And I have pre-ordered the special edition of that book from Fairy Loot as well. So knowing Fairy Loot, it will probably arrive well after the book is actually published. But I am excited to be getting that second copy as well. Or not the second copy, but the second installment as well, so I can read the series. But let's talk about what the book is. Never make a deal with the Fae. After losing both their parents, Bristol Keats and her sisters struggled to stay afloat in their small, quiet town of Bowskeep. When Bristol begins to receive letters from an aunt she's never heard of who promises to help, she discovers that everything she thought she knew about her family is a lie. Her father might even still be alive, kidnapped by terrifying creatures from another realm. Desperate to save her father, Bristol journeys to a land of gods, fae, and monsters. There she makes a deadly bargain with the fae leader, Tegan. But what she doesn't know is that he's the one who drove her parents to live a life on the run, and he is just as determined as she is to find her father, dead or alive. A heart-wrenching love story that spans worlds and decades, The Courting of Bristol Keats is Mary E. Pearson's adult fiction fantasy debut. So I'm very, very, very excited for this. I hope it's going to be just as good as The Dance and Vow of Thieves. I think those books were just absolutely beautiful, and I'm so excited to sink my teeth into this as well, and really, really enjoy this beautiful hardcover copy as well. For those that don't know, I also have been collecting and enjoying all of the Stephanie Garber books as well. This includes the Caraval series as well as Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I have the British edition paperbacks of the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I have the American version of Caraval. And when I realized that she had just debuted a new book in a new series, I knew I had to get my hands on it. And this is the stunning, stunning, stunning Fairy Loot edition of the book as well. This is Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. And I will take a moment to just showcase that beautiful, beautiful cover. And look at all the shine on the images, and then the beautiful, beautiful shining stars in the back. The quote is, "Magic is real if you know where to look." And then let's read the inside of the story. You're here because of a story. It starts with a class in an old movie theater. Folklore 517, local legends and urban bits, taught by a woman called the Professor. Most students believe the professor's stories are just fiction, but Holland St. James has always been convinced that magic is real. Her search for the truth leads her to a dazzling new world, a deadly ultimatum hidden at the heart of Los Angeles, and into the path of a magnetic stranger who claims he's been sent to save her life. But everyone in this intoxicating new world is lying to her, even the stranger, and if she can't figure out whom to trust, her magical reality could change from a Hollywood dream to a nightmare. That sounds awesome. This was apparently in the adult October fantasy box at the time. But I just knew I had to have my hands on this book. This is the original cover for Alchemy of Secrets, which is also gorgeous. But I have to show you guys how beautiful this cover is. It's stunning. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? Can you see the holographic? Ugh, it's stunning. Look at the staircase. So pretty. The bar stools. Oh, it's gorgeous. And then inside, beautiful, no? And then inside on the back, we have them at the bar. And then here are the beautiful, beautiful painted edges of this lovely novel. And I cannot wait to read these books. Like, seriously, I'm just so excited. I know I keep saying that about all these books, but there's just something about the story as well as the beauty of these books themselves that makes me want to just like literally run away and sit by a beach and just read all day long. Like, they're just so beautiful. Look at those next to each other. Is that not gorgeous? Does that not look like a holiday print that you would see on silk clothing? Like, it's just, I can't even. They're just beautiful, beautiful books. And I'm so, so, so excited to read them. I have already talked about this series. I definitely said I will be reading them on my ebook, and I do plan on still doing that because that was the theme for this month. But I never anticipated that these books were finally going to ship in and arrive. I ordered these books on the Bookish box ages ago. I want to say at least 6 months ago. So I had no idea when these books were going to arrive. But when they ended up on my doorstep, I was so excited because they also happen to be books that are on my TBR for the month of April. And that is none other than Marissa Meyer's Cinder series, The Lunar Chronicles. And let me just show you how beautiful these 4 books are because you guys are just going to die. Look at how stunning the artwork is. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that just, to die for? Aren't they just gorgeous? They're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful books. I'm so excited. And it looks like there's little stars on the tops of these too. It's just very heavy and hard for me to lift it by itself. But I promise I will show you guys each book. So the first book in the series is Cinder. This is following the story of Cinderella in an android world sci-fi version. And it's basically her trying to save the realm from being taken over by an evil queen vibe. I'm sorry, guys. It says, imagine there was a cure, but finding it would cost you everything. It would completely ruin your life. What would you do? Now, for these, I'm not going to read the interior of each individual book, only because I already talked about them in the revelation of the books that I was going to read for April, and I'll definitely attach that video in case you guys were interested in looking up these books on that video. But look how beautiful this is. Like, I mean, even the inside cover option is so, so pretty. And it says she was a cyborg and she would never go to the ball. And I love that. I absolutely love that. This is the beautiful front cover of the book. It says on the back, they took away her beautiful clothes, dressed her in an old gray smock, and gave her wooden shoes. So I'm like, okay, I see where you're going with this. Here is the beautiful interior cover of her in the ball. Gorgeous, just absolutely stunning. And I believe these are also signed by the author. Yes, they are. And I'm so excited to jump into these. They are another level of gorgeous, and I cannot wait. So that was Cinder. Let's look at the other 4 books as well. So next we have Scarlet within the Lunar Chronicles. That is the beautiful cover. On the back it says she would keep her word long enough to find her grandma and get her away from these monsters who had taken her. Then she would have his head. This is based on an interpretation of Little Red Riding Hood. Here is the beautiful interior option of Scarlet. And on this it says, Wolfe, to some a wild beast, a predator, a nuisance. To others, a shy animal who was too often misunderstood by humanity. Beautiful, beautiful book. Here is the gorgeous, gorgeous cover of Scarlet. She did not know that the wolf was a wicked sort of animal, and she was not afraid of him. Beautiful. Just absolutely stunning artwork, guys. These books are so pretty. And I love the fact that it's like this android retelling, high-stakes, sci-fi, young adult version of classic romantic tales, and all of the female lead characters in those tales are being rewritten to be stronger female lead characters, which I'm always a fan of. Here is Cress. It says on the back, maybe there isn't such a thing as fate. Maybe it is just the opportunities we're given and what we do with them. I'm beginning to think that maybe great epic romances don't just happen. We have to make them ourselves. This one is based on Rapunzel. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Gorgeous. If there was one thing Cress knew about heroes, it was that they could not resist a damsel in distress. And she was nothing if not in distress. And then on the back of Cress, it says, when she was just a child, the witch locked her away in a tower that had neither doors nor stairs. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful books. Oh, I'm obsessed with how pretty they are, guys. Just stunning. So that is Cress. And then the last book that I was sent for this series is Winter. Now, I do know there are more books in this series, but I believe these are the main novels in the series, and then there are novellas as well. This one is also quite thick, so it could maybe have more than one story. From the day you were born, you had everything I ever wanted. Your beauty, your father's love, and now the adoration of the people, my people, but not for long. That is Winter. And then let's look at the inside cover, guys. Beautiful. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm obsessed. I'm so obsessed. Like, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous, gorgeous books. There's no doubt about it. The back says, the young princess was as beautiful as daylight. She was more beautiful even than the queen herself. So I believe this is Snow White vibes. Everyone knows you will never be queen, but that does not mean you cannot wield your own sort of power. And that is Winter. Here is the interior cover of Winter. Just absolutely gorgeous. So excited to sink my teeth into these as well. Last but not least, we had the Fairy Loot Stalking Jack the Ripper series finally arrive today, and I'm so excited about it. These are some of my favorite books of all time. Keri Maniscalco is also one of my favorite authors of all time. So when Fairy Loot decided to do these beautiful editions, look at these birds on this cover. I mean, look at the, they're just so pretty. And then here is the beautiful, beautiful painted edges. I'm obsessed. They are stunning books. Stunning, truly. Finally arrived today. So I'm just so excited to reread these, to play with these, to just enjoy them. Look how gorgeous that is, guys. Look at the artwork. Doesn't it feel like you're in that time period? Doesn't it feel like you're dealing with Jack the Ripper? The dead speak to those who listen. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so, so pretty. I was really hoping Keri herself had signed these. I thought these were signed editions. I guess I did not ask for the signed editions. That's depressing, but it's okay. We shall continue and move forward without the signature, although I have a signed book by Keri Maniscalco from Barnes & Noble, so I will take it. But this is probably one of my favorite series of all times. I have done a series review on this, so I'll definitely attach it to the end of this video, so we don't have to sit through me reading the dust jackets. But in essence, it's about a young woman who lived during this period of time where women were not allowed in the world of science, and she loves to study with her uncle, who is the local doctor slash morticianer. And she basically, in this process, unearths who Jack the Ripper is. And she does it with the assistance of her uncle and his second best studious male student. And she ends up discovering herself along the process, and then eventually gets recommended to go to a college that is specifically for further education within the arts of medicine, as well as studying cause of death, that kind of thing, like forensic sciences, if you will. And that takes us to book number 2. But these books are just, oh my god, chef's kiss gorgeous. Like, they're so, so pretty. They are so, so pretty. I'm so happy I have them. Like, I cannot even explain how stunning these books are. Like, look how gorgeous. Oh my god, guys. Oh my god. Love strangles intelligence even in the best of us. Oh, so pretty. So, so pretty. And then here is the interior of the second book. We have the wooden stake. This is when she's in Transylvania studying at the college, and she runs into deaths where people appear to have had their blood drinking out of them. Then she and Thomas have to figure out who is committing the murders. Look at the shimmer on those trees and those stars and that moon, guys. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my god, Fairy Loot outdid themselves. Like, truly, truly, truly outdid themselves. That's them going through the village on that snowy, snowy day when they're finding clues about who committed the murder. This is honestly, I mean, I don't even know how Fairy Loot did this. They're so beautiful. Props to Fairy Loot, guys. Props to Fairy Loot. They are truly, truly stunning. And honestly, I think I'm geeking out even more unboxing these with you guys because it's my first time seeing them as well. Here is Escaping from Houdini. This is the one where they're traveling to America together, and there are deaths that start happening on the ship, along with Mephistopheles and the fear of Houdini being on the ship. Most stories are too good to be true. That's what makes them enchanting. I can't. They're so beautiful. Okay, look at this. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And then here is the mask, of course, for the masquerade and all the magic and the theater that's happening in this book. Here is the beautiful photo of her on the ship looking over into the water, into the distance. And then here's the two of them watching a show within the cruise. Absolutely stunning. I think this is probably my favorite one thus far. I'm so impressed also with the acrobats on the stage over here. I mean, the attention to detail in these books is phenomenal. I truly think Fairy Loot outdid themselves. Like, these are stunningly designed. My props to the author, my props to Fairy Loot for getting it done, my props to the publishers who actually did this. And here is Capturing the Devil, the final book in the series, where she's in America during the great fair that happens. The Devil in the White City was about that fair as well. That's a true story that was told. We're all someone's hero and another's villain. Ah, I love it. But you can see the beautiful White City in the background that was built for this momentous occasion that happened in American history. Here we have the cane and the key. These are also very elemental to the stories, just putting that out there. And then here they are in the actual fair in the White City. And the back in the wedding dress with Thomas. Ah, I die. I die with how beautiful these are. And that does bring me to the conclusion of this massive haul video. I can't wait to show you guys the other beautiful books that are coming from Illumicrate. Hopefully they're going to be getting here soon, and I'll definitely share those books with you guys too. But thank you so much for joining me and watching this haul. And that does bring me to the end of this video. If you guys made it this far, props to you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for being here. It means the absolute world to me. For those of you that are new, if you like bookish content and you happen to enjoy this one as well, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell. We would love to have you back as part of our bookish community, and I put out videos every Wednesday and Sunday. For those of you that are returning, I cannot thank you enough for all your support, all your love, all your help in promoting this channel and really making it an engaging platform for us to talk all things books. I love reading your comments. I love responding to them. And I love hearing about all the books that you guys are reading as well. And I cannot thank you enough for all of your support and kindness that you've shown me as I've started this reading and YouTube journey. And I can't wait to continue growing it with all of you. And that being said, I want to leave everybody with this. Wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, evening, or night, I hope you're getting plenty of time to rest, relax, spend time with loved ones, and also get in some quality self-care reading time. I will catch you guys on the flip side with the next video. Bye, guys.